Hello, this is TV Crazy Man. Are you ready for some Three Stooges Goofs from the 1950s? Starring Moe, Larry, and Joe Besser. In this video, we put the spotlight on fake Moes, multiple Moes, Larrys, and Joe Bessers, the Stooge haircut abomination, and hear Curly's voice pop up in the Stooge short well after his passing. All this, plus Joe Besser's past exposed and his true feelings of his time working with the Stooges. Hoofs and Goofs from 1957 was the very first appearance of Joe Besser as a member of the Three Stooges. And isn't it ironic that we're going to talk about Goofs from that particular episode?
Don't call me names.
Come on, Joe. Don't hit so hard. You could sprain your wrist or something with that much force being used.
That hurts. Now, don't aggravate yourself.
Now stick around after the Goofs and I'll tell you what I really think about Joe. Well, the first goof happens when Moe is getting a pan of water filled because his sister's a horse and she's having a baby or a colt. Don't ask. It's just better that way. Anyway, there's a couple of instances on this short where Moe is not really Moe.
Oh! What happened?
Keep an eye on Moe as he gets back up.
What the Sam Hill? No, stupid idiot who left that chair in the way.
Now this is either a stunt double or Moe's hair got longer.
Come on, you're dreaming, kid.
Turns out this entire episode was nothing but a dream. Remember that because it becomes important later on.
Boy, scram, I want to set the table for dinner. Oh, Bertie, am I glad to see you.
Well, it turns out that the Stooge's sister wasn't really a horse after all. It was Moe dressed up like his sister. Well, if that's Moe, where's Moe? Well, that ain't Moe. In 1957's Muscle Up a Little Closer, the goof is in the hair. Just look what Moe and Larry did to their heads. They don't even look the same. According to several sources I read, this was Joe's idea. He thought this would make them look more like gentlemen. Joe, that's the exact opposite of what a Stooge is supposed to look like.
How do you like this bubble brain?
In the short, A Merry Mix-Up, we have 3 sets of Stooge brothers. I think this short was pretty neat. Now the Stooges had done this sort of duplicate thing in the past, but I don't think they had done quite so many Stooge duplicates in one episode as they did in this one. And it was pretty cool.
Morris, Jeff, Lou.
I'm Louis. I'm Jack.
I'm Max.
I'm mortified.
Unfortunately, they still managed to have a goof slip in on them. I'm assuming they used some sort of split screen technique with a combination of stand-ins. In one scene, we can clearly see Joe's stand-in, and you can tell it ain't Joe. In Spaceship Sappy, I think the Three Stooges put in a goof just to throw us off.
Here it is, Professor A.K. Rimple, number 60. That's the place.
Now a little later in this short, the Three Stooges are going to go up in this spaceship. Notice that the miniature animals are, well, just toys. They don't seem to move at all. Even a rocket ship taking off in outer space doesn't cause these animals to move a bit. More than likely this was an intentional joke, but I put it in here just in case.
You hornswoggled us.
Good grief, we're above the world.
You know, as fake as this scene might appear, it made me dizzy. Am I the only one? Well, the entire short, Horsing Around, is a goof, technically, because it's a sequel to the short Hooves and Goose, which was supposed to have all been a dream. So none of it happened.
Sleep, I don't mean maybe.
It's one of those things that kind of blows your mind, isn't it? Rusty Romeo's, because it was a remake of a Shemp short, Corny Casanovas, it created a small goof in continuity. Notice 1 second it appears Larry and Moe are fighting next to a picture of Shemp, then the picture becomes one of Joe Besser. In Quiz Wiz, some bad guys throw some knives at the Stooges. Keep your eye on the knife when Moe's hair rises out of fright.
Oh!
Now, was that knife as scared as Moe was, or is there something else going on here? Probably whatever wind machine was used to make Moe's hair stand up also made the knife wobble back and forth. You'll be glad to know that the bad guys did get it in the end.
A bullseye!
In the short Sappy Bullfighters from 1959, The end bullfight scene has parts from What's the Matador from 1942, which featured Curly. You can still hear Curly yelling where it's supposed to be Joe. This was taken from What's the Matador and used for sappy bullfighters. That's actually Curly. And that is a dummy that doesn't look like either Joe or Curly. And that's Joe riding on something, I'm not sure what, but it's definitely not a bull. Did you hear Curly yelling in the background? And Joe wins by way of knockout. Well, I promised you I'd tell you what I thought about Joe. First, let me tell you what I know about Joe. Joe Besser, that is.
Hello.
Joe had been doing comedy for years before his work as a Stooge. Besser appeared in the Abbott and Costello movie African Screams in 1949.
Look, where are you going with the water? Oh, my tent's on fire! Well, what have you got to say for yourself?
Little fat man got him.
Oh, you snitch. All right, here we go. Camera.
Harry, did you answer the door?
Oh, Bobby, stop!
Which also featured Shemp Howard of the Three Stooges.
Keep going there. Keep going there. What's the matter? You've been eating olives, eh? Those wild olives, eh?
Come here.
Keep going.
Joe and Shemp were actually old friends. They met in 1932. He became a regular on the Abbott and Costello TV show before his days as a Stooge.
Your face. Ow! Over. Give it to you. Gave you a warning signal. You're a dangerous pedestrian. That's what you are.
Wait a minute, Stinky, come here.
What's the matter? Are you thirsty?
I'm not thirsty. My room is on fire.
You didn't come to I'll harm you. Not one.
Basically, Joe played the same whiny character on every show he was on, and he perfected it. He was funny, there's no doubt about that. He wasn't Curly or Shemp, of course. He had his own unique style.
We're not ordinary people. We're morons.
Speak for yourself.
Had he tried to be a Curly clone, I don't think it would have worked out very well. You know, Joe Besser later reported that the short flying saucer Daffy was his favorite Three Stooges short.
Sure.
Thanks. Don't ever leave me.
We must.
Go figure, right? You know, I think quite a few Stooge fans believe that Besser was fired. The real reason is that Joe didn't go on tour with Moe and Larry after the filming of the shorts was canceled, was because his wife had recently had a heart attack and he couldn't leave her side to go on tour. Now, Joe admittedly did not want to be hit. One source I read said he even had a clause in his contract limiting the number of hits he could get, but then that was later rescinded. I guess he eventually got used to the way things were done as a member of the Stooges. He also said how appreciative he was of Larry offering to take more of the slaps so he wouldn't have to.
What's that? Oh, that's a hammer. Stop with the jokes. Come on.
Joe was a big part of Saturday mornings as well. He did a lot of voice work for Hanna-Barbera, doing characters like Scare Bear for Yogi's Space Race and Babu the Genie.
Hey, that's real good.
So, yeah, Joe was funny in his own right. He was never meant to take the literal place of Curly or Shemp, I don't think. Nobody could do that. Despite decades of work, Joe Besser will always be mostly remembered as one of the Three Stooges, even though his time as a Stooge was pretty short.
But it was one of the most beautiful 2 years that I could remember in show business.
So what do you think of Joe? All in all, he was a regular guy. Definitely not a Rambo or John Wayne, or even a Curly, but a decent Stooge for sure, and if he hadn't done those last Stooge shorts, maybe Moe and Larry would have been out of work. Or maybe they would have gotten Jerry Lewis. Now that would be weird. Or what if Jackie Gleason? Nah, he'd have tried to take over Moe's spot, despite looking more like Curly and Joe physically. Oh well, who knows what might have happened.
And the character that I did is part of them. It's a childish character. It's things that they would do. So I'm part of them, and they're part of me.
That's it. today on this video. So thanks for watching. Please subscribe, hit the bell for future notifications, and like and comment and let me know what you think about this video. And would you like to see more Three Stooges stuff coming down?
Ay, ay, ay.
Get a load of that rock and roll dialogue.
They must have heard Elvis Presley.